credit rating advisory services, etc. Currently, he is chairman of Messrs. CRAAS Capital Advisors and Messrs. Credit Rating and Risk Advisory Services Private Limited. He is a co-author of book Financial Inclusion, Viable Opportunity in Urban India. Welcome, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, on our show. Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, you being such a senior banker and you have spent your almost entire life in the banking industry. So you are one of the very fine and most expert person today in India as far as the banking industry is concerned. And today we are talking to our youth, and youth are going to ask questions to you on the banking industry. So what would you like to tell before I will start the interactive section on the banking industry? So Youth Conclave on banking industry, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, please.
Thank you, Goel sir, and I'm really obliged having invited me for this interaction with the youth of the country. They represent the youth of the country, and I'm very delighted to address them and reply to their question if they have. First of all, how the banking started. You already explained many other things, but banking started earlier. It was a barter system. Banking has been there for the last many decades, many centuries, and one of the banking arrangement was that you take goods from one other person and give to another person, because at that time the exchange of the coins and currencies were not there. The coins and currencies were introduced very late, and as a result of that, there was a need felt for the banking, how the banking can start. So one of the first bank was started was Hindustan Bank, Bank of Hindustan, which was in 1770. And thereafter, all other bank came when the East India Company came into India. At that time, some more banks were introduced, like Bank of, the Madras Bank, Presidency. All these banks got converted. 5 banks got converted into Presidency Bank. Later on, this Presidency Bank got converted and merged with the, got another bank. It's called State Bank of India, which we are talking today. Later on, other banks came into picture, and as a result of that, earlier only private sector was there. Later on, the 14 banks were nationalized in 69-70. All big banks were nationalized, and the nationalization was for the purpose of, because the banking was available only for few people. So to make the banking available to the large number of population of India. So basically to reach to the poorest of the poor, the nationalization took place in 69-70, and later on 4 other banks were also nationalized in 80s. So this is how the banking has evolved over a period of time. But the banking as such, major portion of the banking as of today and when it started, banking was only 2. One, take the deposit who has excess money, take the deposit from the people of the country and lend it for that. And there is a called income. What is the margin available? NIM. What is called net interest income is what is the paid on the deposit advances. Interest paid on the deposit and earn the interest on advances. So the balance is called a NIM. That is called a national net interest income. This is how it is started. Later on, the banking has evolved over a period of time and gone into investment banking. As of today, we are talking about digital banking, small bank finance. There are various other type of banks which are operating in the country, depending upon the need of the. As of today, I would like to share some of the, the details with you about what is as of today the banks are. As of today, there are 12 banks in the public sector, 21 banks in the private sector, and there are about 16 banks in the foreign country bank, the foreign banks which are having the operating in India. And as of today, the total number of, if you say in terms of the the number of branches, as of today, the total number of branches of public sector bank is almost 1,37,118. This is talking about, I have a data is of latest data, which is based upon the RBI published data, which is available. Probably all of you must have also being a youth of this country and MBA student, you must have also seen the RBI reports, which is publicly available. As of similarly, the private sector bank has total number of the branches are around 35,000 branches. Foreign bank has only 35. So as of today, you have a public sector bank, you have a private sector bank, you have foreign banks who are commercially, they are doing all commercial transactions. Apart from that, you have cooperative bank in India, you have regional rural bank in India. Regional rural bank was set up to take care of basic need of the rural population, because as of today, everyone is in a position to reach to the banks. Later on, looking to the need of that, ATM was one of the area was how to percolate the banking system and take the advantage of entire banking. Was also ATM was also popular. As of today, if we see that what is the total penetration of deposit and advance in terms of various, this is also data based upon the RBI. The deposit of the entire banking system as a whole, as of today, is 1 crore 55 lakhs 90,000, and the the net advances and loans are to the tune of about 1 crore 3 lakhs, 1 crore 8 lakhs as of today. The total, their exact figure I can give if you anybody is interested. And the net profit of the entire banking system is up to 1 lakh 21, 1 crore 21 lakhs. So this is a figure of the total figure and banking industry as such is. And as of today, the infrastructure, if you have seen, what is the contribution of banking sector in the infrastructure side is today you see the good road, good railway station, good airports is on account of the investment being made by the public sector bank, by the private sector bank, and there are financial institutions. So it is as a financial sector as whole is contributing a lot towards the development of the country and economic of the country. The GDP growth, which has been projected by 2025 is about 5 trillion economy, and by 2030 is about 10 trillion economy. That is what the projected, and by 2050 it is going to be much more. That is what the World Bank and the Indian authorities have also projected that where we are going to be. And these monies which are being collected is also a public money. Now, when this is a public money, naturally the public has to get back the money. There has been an issue about the NPA level in the public sector bank as well as in the banking industry as a whole or financial sector as a whole. When I'm talking financial sector includes the banking sector, the financial institute sector, NBFC. There are NBFC who are there operating. There are cooperative bank who are now multi-state cooperative banks who are operating in the various sector. So with these type of financial penetration and banking penetration in the country, there is a hope that India will be one of the leading financial superpower in years to come. So I would like to, there are certain things which probably all of you must have also mustered or gone through the various issues which you would like to discuss with us. But as of today, banking sector is very, very strong. Financial sector is very, very strong. Economy of the country is very strong. And we are hoping, in spite of the pandemic, which has been still, we are in third wave. In spite of the third wave going through the roof, everybody is talking about every day there is cases are increasing, but fatality is less. That is one of the major thing which we are observing and everybody is observing. You being a youth of this program as well as other youth of the country who may be watching this program, the country is as of today is on a very strong footing economically, as well as creation of infrastructure. A lot of things are having. As of today, if you talk in terms of the simple deposit, is not the only banking. So deposit taking has been a banking, lending against that is also in a banking. But apart from that, there is an investment. You must be watching today. Everybody must be having the interest. Stock market, how is stock market? Stock market is also contributing to the financial sector. And in terms of there is a bond market, there is an NCD market, there are various other markets which are operating in the financial sector. Ultimately, everybody is contributing towards the financial development, financial being of the country. And I'm sure that the country has youth like you. They will all contribute to the come into mainstream, and they will be able to contribute towards the development of the country. With this, Goel Sahab, I would like to stop it, and let's take
Okay,
some questions.
thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, for giving your briefing, start of opening remarks. And what Mr. Pradeep has said, that the banking sector is very strong today, and that because of the banking sector or banking industry, whatsoever development we are seeing in our country, whether the airports, railway stations, or highways, etc., this is main credit goes to the banking industry. So thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep. And now I am going to invite my youth guest one by one, and they will be asking question to you. My first youth guest is Miss Akshita. Miss Akshita, introduce yourself and then ask your question, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. I, Akshita, I am pursuing first year of MBA from Kite Group of Institution. My question is,
Sorry, which city?
Sir, Ghaziabad.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay.
My question is, banking sector are going to be privatized. What are your views on this?
Let me tell you, the privatization is not going to happen in full. It is being privatized in terms of looking to the various need of the, because the public sector bank was set up for a different purposes. Those purposes are still being served by the public sector bank. Now, let me tell you that in India, in spite of these number of banks, none of the bank which are stationed in India has a huge capital requirement which is required. So as of today, we don't have a scale of operation, scale of a bank. Like in terms of if we compare with the US bank, or we compare with some of the UK banks, some of the Chinese bank who are much bigger than even number one bank of State Bank of India. So the whole purpose of privatization has been that let us have a 2-3 bank of a size where they can contribute and they can take, because we are a global economy today. We are not the local economy. No more we are a local economy. So we are a global economy. To compete with the global banks, there is a necessity to create that type of bank who become a competitive in terms of the pricing, in terms of the lending, in terms of many other things which the other global bank are in the country is going through. And therefore the total privatization is not going to take place. You have already seen that the number of banks which has been earlier used to be around, I remember when I was a chairman at that time, their bank was around 28 public sector banks. Now it has come down to the 12 public sector bank, and it may take another 1 or 2 banks where smaller banks are there. Like still there is a regional bank like a Bank of Maharashtra, Indian Overseas Bank. These are some of the banks which are still very small in size. But government has thought of taking a call, because to meet the immediate requirement of the regional level basis, small bank also required, and therefore there is a small bank has also been set up by giving the liberalization licensing policy. Small bank has also been set up. So the basic purpose of the privatization as of today is to create the scale of banks, so that the bank is able to, as of today, I tell you, as of today, none of the bank in India, including State Bank of India, if there is a requirement of infrastructure creation where it require 50 crore, 50,000 crore, 1 lakh crore rupees. Like we are having some of the project like bullet train project and other projects which are going on. These projects require huge amount. None of the public sector bank can meet with those requirements. So there is a need to merge so that the exposure side, they will be able to take more exposure, they will participate more, and they will become in terms of instead of bringing the capital from outside, within the India, there is a bank which is available, which can lend to and create the infrastructure which is required for the country as of today. So the bank, all the banks, 12 public sector banks remaining may not be required to be merged, may not be required to be, the merge as of today. But yes, smaller bank, there is a scale of operation. When there is a issues relating to that, that needs to be addressed. And therefore, as of today, the government is able to address those things. And that's why selectively the government has gone for privatization. So privatization is in the interest of the country to create more revenue available, or more lending powers available, more exposure they can take in terms of not only short term. As of today, any of the public sector bank in India cannot take more than 10 to 15 years exposure. Now, the infrastructure companies, they require long-term gestation period, 30 years period. None of the bank can, as in India, can take 30 years exposure. But if there is a scale of the banks, the bank will be able to take the 30 years or 40 years exposure. Today, bullet train, where there is a Japanese bank which has come into picture, they are taking exposure for 50 years. None of the Indian bank will be able to take the exposure more than 15 to 20 years. Slowly they have started taking the little more, but not 30 years, not beyond 30 years. I deal with a lot of banks, so I am aware of that. When you go and ask for 30 years, any exposure, it's not available. So it is necessary to privatize certain banks, make an scale up the bank so that the banking sector becomes more resilient, and they can come to the expectation of the modern today, our demand in terms of the infrastructure creation. These things are very necessary. But let me tell you that all bank will not be privatized. I hope I have answered you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep. Thank you, Ms. Akshita. Now, my next youth guest is Ms. Arushi Gupta. Ms. Arushi Gupta.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. I am Arushi
Good
Gupta I am pursuing MBA from HIMCS Agra. So my question is, how this pandemic affecting the banking industry, sir?
Let me tell you, very good question. In present situation, everybody is asking how pandemic has affected in terms of two things. One, the lending has come down. The deposit side, which people used to keep in the bank, the deposit has also not gone to the extent of what was expected. Earlier, deposit growth used to be about 10%, 12%, because the advances growth was also similarly placed about 10 to 12%. During this particular period, demand for credit has reduced, because the people who were asking for the more because during the pandemic period, many of the industries got closed. Naturally, their demand for the credit will be also reduced. Similarly, whatever the people were having their own deposit or saving, they started using their saving for their personal use and also for immediate requirement, resulting into, during this particular period, it is not gone down, but it has not progressed to the extent it should have gone down. This incremental growth which was being taken in earlier year has not taken during this pandemic year. But now this year, I'm talking about 2021, 21, 22, which is going to now year, that there is a growth in the advances, growth in the deposits. So total business of the banking sector as a whole, and I can talk to about the private sector bank as a whole, public sector bank as a whole, has gone up. It is almost crossing around 10% in the deposits, and also around 9 to 10% around advances. So now the progressive, because of the now pandemic is getting stabilized, even as of today, third wave, people are not, and therefore the country has suffered, people have suffered, industry has suffered during this particular period, and therefore proactively the government came into picture, and government has taken all proactive steps to see that unemployment is controlled, the industry start working and come to the same level. The unemployment rate, when the people have gone to their hometown, the migration took place from the city side to their hometown, the people have come back. This has affected, but looking to the policy which has been adopted by the government of India, this has very large extent has come back and is stabilized. So as of today, we are in comfortable position in terms of lending. There is no, the dearth of loaning, and major portion which has suffered was MSME sector. MSME sector, because they were employing 3, 4 people, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. And when the migration took place, they were the first to go. And during that particular time, the MSME sector has suffered to a large extent. Some of the units has also gone, although the government had came out with the various scheme to support them. But one setback has taken place. Probably people are still hoping that they will come back to the mainstream, and I think it's not it will not take much time. Before March, you will find a lot of changes are taking place, and the pandemic also will. I think pandemic is also coming down. People are not afraid of now today, because of third wave is not very lethal. So all those things are contributing. A large number of our deposit is also coming back. Advances are also being given to the people who are need based basically. So the bank is in a position to meet with the requirement of economy, meet with the requirement of the people, industry as such. I hope
Okay,
I
thank you.
satisfy your.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Ms. Arushi. Now, my next youth guest is Mr. Birendra Paridaji.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Paridaji. You are from Odisha.
Please,
Yes.
please. Yeah, ask your question, please, Mr. Birendra.
I'm from Bangalore studying MBA, current person second year MBA, Bangalore from Down Boston Store Technology. Okay, so first question is, now we have seen the NPS are increasing year by year. Every year NPS are increasing. So it is a bad sign to the bank. It's a negative sign to the bank. So what measures does RBI should take to protect these banks with regard to NPS?
It's a very good question, which is a very burning question for all of us, economy as a whole. See, as of today, how the NPA is created because of external factor, internal factor, both. Now, internal factor is like a pandemic. Nobody has anticipated that there will be pandemic. Okay. Similarly, in many of the part of the country, there has been a flood. There has been a natural calamity in the large number. So these are the things. Secondly, there has also been a policy issues by the government, state government. Many other things are there, which contribute, because when you give today loan, you don't know what is going to happen after 2 years. Okay. So the risk factor is more, because when I'm lending a single rupee, I'm taking a risk. As of today, the banking job is to take a risk. If you don't want to take any risk, don't lend it. What will happen is you will be again in the losses, because you will continue to pay to your depositor, the interest on your deposit. But if you don't lend, you don't have any source of income, resulting into loss even if you have deposit. So there are bank branches who are continuously in the losses because they don't have opportunity to lend. So as of today, NPA is a cause of concern because of 2-3 factors which has contributed. Is in terms of the risk factor has not been taken in many of the cases. How is going to be like a coal and telecommunication, which was done in 95, 90, we can say even in 2000, when the coal came, the coal case became one of the issue, resulted into the account which were covered under going the loan to the coal companies, coal mines, those accounts become NPA. Similarly, like a telecommunication as of today, the 2G, 4G, 3G, 4G, all these things have come over a period of time. You must be also hearing about some of the large telecommunication companies are also facing the similar type of problem. Unfortunately or fortunately, government came into picture, and then the situation is saved. Otherwise, 30,000-40,000 crore rupees of the banking loan would have gone back. Okay, so there are issues relating to the policies. There are related issues to the personal. The when the money is available, when it is a lend money at that particular time, the risk factor is a little more. So if as a banker I am able to address my risk factor, how to take on which borrower should I take the risk, to what extent should I take the risk, is the decision of commercial decision of the banking sector. And the banking sector so that is a one issue which is required to be taken is when you take a lending decision, you are taking a risk, and risk can be minimized by taking various steps which are required during the before the account becomes NPA. Now, having become the account NPA, the government of India came out in 1926. The insolvency, Indian insolvency proceeding, we call it as IBC, Indian Bank Corruption Code. Now, when the Bank Corruption Code came, lot of cases of certain up to cutoff, they were referred to them for the purpose of proper resolution. And within the guidelines of RBI, within the guidelines of committee, there has been a committee recommendation. Based on that, resolution has been found. There are many companies whose resolution has been found. If those companies, the resolution is not arrived at, they were put to the liquidation, because ultimately public money, government money, or there are many other, the suppliers are there, purchaser are there. There are many people who are also associated with that. So it is not easy for any government or RBI or any government agency to close all of a sudden. So opportunity is being given to the same borrower, saying that if you have a capacity, you bring them more money, your account can be restructured, long-term plan can be prepared, and the account can be rehabilitated. This is what the policy has come. In many of the cases, those who are not able to come back, they are being, then they have to go to the liquidation. There is no other alternative, because the bank cannot keep on pumping the money. And therefore, the IBC as of today is doing a fantastic job. There are tribunals which has been set up throughout the country. Any matter which are required to be submitted, the bank can do that, creditors can do that, operational creditors can also file a bank corruption code. So as of today, the bank corruption code is very, very effective. Large number of cases have gone there, and some solution has also come. So the whatever is required now, the bank corruption has also been introduced against the personal. The person who has, there are a lot of borrower who are a single borrower. I take a loan and I am not able to repay. I am also covered under the insolvency proceeding. So those type of things are there. Solely we have taken. What has happened is, during the pandemic time, last 2 years, number of cases they are not referred, because the law was created and instructions were given that there will be extension of some period, 2 years period. So therefore, effective hearing has also started. As of today, a lot of cases are being heard by the tribunal, and decision is being taken. So this is one step taken. Second step, wherever it was required, whether there is a possibility of restructuring of the account, because if there is a genuine difficulty because of the pandemic or because of any other things, the government has also come out to restructure the account, not through the IBC, but through the internal process of the banking system. The account can also be restructured. SME, there has been a special dispensation for restructuring for the MSME. So the government and RBI has taken a very strong and very effective steps to see that the problem of industry is also the address. At the same time, if there are the borrower who are dishonest, they should also be taken to the task. So many of the cases has been declared as a fraud. They have been taken to the CBI. They have been taken to various other authorities for the purpose of penalizing those people. So as of today, the banking sector is very resilient, very proactive in terms of recovery side. But at the same time, the poor people or the people who are below poverty line are being given special dispensation. So even for the recovery purpose, it is not that the bank people are after everybody in the banking system, because there are processes introduced in the banking system, so that every borrower who has taken the loan, their needs, their problems, how to resolve the issues are being addressed separately. So the effective steps have been taken, and I'm sure that the once upon time it went up to, in the some of the bank, the NPA has gone to the 14% or 15%, which was a benchmark that in case you go beyond 6% or 7%, you are not allowed to. The banks were not allowed to lend further, because there was a PCR. They called it PCR applicable, so they were not allowed to. So the one time the RBI has taken very proactive steps against the banks also, as well as against the borrower, and wherever it is needed, a special dispensation or special scheme has been introduced to address those problems. So it is being addressed. I am sure because of pandemics, some cases have also gone up. But during this particular year, 2021, in spite of second wave and now third wave, the account of the borrower is not showing much of the worsening. It is improving on the contrary. So I am sure that over a period of next 6 months time, the situation of the NPA will also substantially will come down. So I'm very optimistic about that, and I'm sure it will.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you very much, Mr. Biren. Now, my next youth guest is Mr. Lohit BS.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, BS.
My name is Lohit. I am from Bangalore. I am pursuing MBA in Don Bosco Institute of Technology in Bangalore. I'm in second year student, sir.
Okay.
Sir, my question is, in how bank manage the business impact essential in a pandemic situation?
So I have covered this. The bank has managed. I tell you how the bank has managed during the period. Have you any time during the pandemic period you have been deprived of withdrawal of the money whenever you need it?
No.
As of today, the bank has been working on the digital economy, digital platform. As of today, if you want 10,000 rupees, you can, sitting at home, you can withdraw, right? So the banking as such has not been impacted at all. In spite of the pandemic having a total lockdown, during the lockdown period also, none of the customer or none of the customer of the bank were deprived of their basic necessity of banking. Be a deposit, you want to have deposit, you were permitted to go to the branch, any of the branch, deposit the money. You wanted to withdraw the money, either you can have through mobile banking or through any other internet banking, or the banking at doorstep was also allowed. So during the particular period, the people have suffered a lot. I tell you, there has been a lot of death in the banking sector, which is not being reported, but I'm sharing with you. A lot of people have died. Although the schemes were announced for their compensation, all those things, but banking facility were not denied during this particular pandemic period, and the bank continued to maintain wherever there was a need of giving a further loan, it was also allowed. So the bank during this pandemic period was one of the organization, one of the pillar of the economy who has managed the pandemic very well. There has not been, you can't address 100% people, isn't it? There will be some people, vested interest is always there. So they will come out with some of the, but during this particular period, small borrower, even I have addressed, even a small street vendor were also compensated, a steel vendor also were, and this is all through banking channel. Anybody who has been, having any type of economic activities was supported by the banking channel. whether a small borrower, whether a small street vendor, whether it is a big borrower, whether it is a medium-sized borrower, MSME, everybody was addressed by the banking sector as such. And because of that, the bank has not, neither the bank has suffered, not severity of the suffering I'm talking in terms of, some people may have suffered on account of certain lacuna or certain other things, or may not have been able to take the advantage of those schemes. But bank as such has managed the economy very well, and therefore we can say today, we stand to say that the banking sector is one of the best banking sector in the country, in the world.
Okay.
Indian banking sector is the best banking in the world, not in the country. So because during this period, crisis has been there. Everybody has faced the crisis. But banking sector has stood by that, and they came out with all sort of support which were required to boost the economy, to support the economy. So I hope
Yes.
answer your question.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Mr. Lohit. Now, my next youth guest is Miss Ragini Sisodia.
Hi, Ragini.
Hello, sir. Good morning. This is Ragini from, I'm pursuing my MBA from Hindustan College, Mathura. And my question is, although we have the strongest financial sector, as you said just now, but still we can witness that with the coming of online transaction, we are also increasing the threats of this security to people. Like there are cases of fraud, and there are cases of unauthorized access, so people still have the fear in their minds for using these online transactions. So how can we like reduce, or what measures can we take to feel people more secure about these transactions?
Yeah, I agree. There has been a spurt in the the online frauds throughout the country. It is a recognized and understood by the banking regulator as well as the banking sector. Therefore, the cyber security is one of the area which been addressed, and entire banking system is being taking effective steps, including modifying their online requirement. Now is at this juncture, there is also requirement of public awareness. When every bank is issuing, you may be having the account with any other bank, maybe for instance, state bank. Every day you get some sort of thing. Please don't share your OTP. Please don't share your OTP. Don't do this transaction. If anything comes like that, don't click on that. If this type of, so the public should also be aware of that. Why should I do the transaction when my bank itself is informing me that please don't share your OTP? In spite of that, people are sharing the OTP, and those people who are going beyond certain limitations, they are being suffering. But in order to address that, there is also, if you have suffered on account of that, if you are able to lodge your complaint within 15 days time after you have come, after the transaction has happened. Because as of today, every transaction, if you are having online banking, every transaction is reported to you immediately by SMS and other means. By email, it comes to you. So once you verify that, and to that extent you are able to report to the police authority or bank authority, bank also will help you to get the police report file or FIR file. If that is done, you are not losing anything. But I fully agree that there is a need to secure that. Every transaction should be secured, but public should also take some responsibility, because having put your own hard-earned money in the banking system, and if you are lax now that since I have given the money to the bank, I don't have any my responsibility to take care of my own transaction which I am doing sitting at home, in office, or while walking or while talking. You can do transaction anywhere, anytime. So the government is fully aware of, RBI is also aware of, and therefore cyber security is being implemented strongly in the bank, because it takes time to develop the cyber security software and they implement. Though of course it is available, but the process of implementation in the bank takes little time. So those are being addressed, and the customer education is also being done every day now. See the any TV report, some of the college girls are also coming. when they say that this pin, you must have seen many of the advertisement which is coming, that don't share the pin. Majority of the fraud has taken place because of the people have shared their pin. If you don't share your pin, you are fully protected, and if there is a fault on the part of the bank, it is a bank responsibility to compensate you. So there is a awareness from both the side. Bank has also taken very effective steps. RBI has given RBI has penalized in the bank in many of the cases where there was a lax in security, or the bank was not able to address those customer complaint. Bank has been penalized also. So as of today, our security system, whatever has been there today, needs updation. In many of the bank, they have already done the updation, but there is a further need to have, and the RBI and government is fully aware of this. The large fraud is not taking place. Let me tell you, on account of this use of the technology, large fraud has not taken place. It is on account of people, those who are operating lax on the part of the people. Because of that, the some fraud has taken place, or cyber relaxation has taken a toll. So as of today, I am confident maybe another this issue is being addressed, has been already addressed. System is being upgraded so that those can be avoided.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Ms. Ragini. Now my next youth guest is Ms. Sakshi Singhal.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sakshi. Your now system is stabilized?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Sir, my name is Sakshi Singhal and I am currently pursuing MBA from Hindustan College, Mathura. Sir,
Okay.
my question is, what is the role of banking sector in the corporate world?
See, as of today, initially I told you what is the role of the bank. What the role bank? What is the meaning of the bank? Bank is take the deposits, lend to the needy people, whether
Yes.
it is a big or small. As of today, let me just give the figure. What is the corporate lending which has been done? As of today, the corporate lending in the whole of the country, I got is the figure. I'll just share with you. So the corporate, as of today, all the industry which are coming up, big industry or small scale industry or any industry, small business people are also. Now, who is funding them? It is the bank. So the bank is, as of today, bank is playing a very proactive role in terms of support. When you want to start an industry, maybe a sugar mill, maybe a manufacturing activity, you are from Agra, so there are peda shops, there are other shops which are there those are all small scale businesses. Now, every industry is not an industry. The industry classification is like service industry. You are a computer engineer, you want to pursue your own engineering class, you are an MBA, now you want to go in the stock market, you want to pursue your stock market trading in the stock market is also a business. So when you are pursuing such type of activities, the bank who is supporting, and therefore the bank has come out with the various scheme, not only for the corporate sector, but bank has also come out the scheme to even advocates, even chartered accountant, your consulting, many other firm which has been operating in the country. They have been public sector bank, private sector bank, both are contributing a large portion, supporting a large portion out of the total. I said one crore and about lakhs rupees, which is advance loan and advances. Out of that, almost 50%, about 60 to 70 lakhs crore is towards the corporate side. Corporate side does not mean that only who are registered company. There are companies who is listed one, the companies which are non-listed one, the companies which are in a small scale sector, those are also corporates. So the corporates definition, but so far the bank is concerned, bank has classified in three sectors. One is large corporate, where the exposure can be to the extent of 20,000 crore, 30,000 crore, and a group company, it could be even more than that. Because if you see any of the conglomerate like Hero Honda, like a Tata Group is a group, but the Tata Group consists of many companies. Now total exposure, these are all group, Reliance Group. These are the group which are as of today, Reliance Group, Tata Group, Birla Group, there are many other groups. They are called as corporate, big corporates. Now there are single corporates when there is a single entity which is there is also called. Now the big corporates and medium corporates, there is a definition of medium side who will come as a part of the medium side, which is defined, well defined, and they are also being supported accordingly. So there is a very proactive role is being played by the bank. If corporates need a loan, because corporates cannot hold and keep the money in the investment. Today, when I take a deposit, I have two opportunities. One is I lend it to the corporates or to any small business or to anybody. Part of the amount I can keep it in the, I can invest in the NCD. I keep it in the investment, the bonds. I can also invest in the equity. So these are the opportunity which corporates comes in all category. Corporates come by way of loan. Corporates reaches to the bank for the equity participation. Corporate reaches to them in the case of bond. In India, bond market is not very active as of today. Government has taken certain steps to, create awareness among the banking sector to take more risk in terms of corporate bonds, because it is a long term. So long-term bond, still it is, people are not taking a risk because of the short-term deposit. Because we don't have, when I take a deposit from you, you can withdraw anytime. Now, once you withdraw at any time, those are all, we call it as call deposit. So short-term deposit, when you, all your saving deposit is call deposit. I can't stop you not to withdraw from your saving bank account. So those funds, even if I want to deploy it, because I have to also deploy some other funds to keep myself. So bank is also borrowing. Large fund is being borrowed by the bank towards their capital requirement, because capital, there is a minimum capital requirement, 12%. The bank has also to keep a buffer, 12% capital, they are supposed to keep it. Similarly, when, why we are talking debt equity ratio? The borrower, the corporate, we are asking that your debt equity ratio should be at this level. If it goes beyond that, then there is a requirement of gearing ratio. How will you repay your interest and installment over a period of time? Those are all financial ratio and financial calculation. While lending, we do it. Now, while monitoring the account, many of the cases, because of the circumstances, get changed. So that also gets changed. So as of today, majority of the corporates are depending on us, and therefore we are now, there is a feeling that why can't we, that's why the, the stock market is booming today, because the stock market, people have gone, corporates are having liberty to go to the market and take the money from the public. Now, as of today, if you see the stock market is crossing more than 60,000 index. Out of that, there are mid corporate level, there are MSME level. So people are all having. So instead of creating only depending upon the banking sector for a loan, the corporates are also being encouraged to go public, bring the public money, and the public is today pumping the money like anything. If you see any of the, the public issue IPO which is coming, it is subscribed. My requirement is one time, but it is being subscribed 10 times, 200 times, 150 times. So there is a large public money is available. So those public money, if come into system by way of IPO, the need of the corporates get met to a very large extent. Dependence on the bank also come down. So the risk on the bank also comes down. So the public has to also contribute in terms of their requirement, and the corporates are being supported. You tell me any industry where the corporates are not being supported. I remember every industry, take the sugar industry, take the textile traditional industry, take the case of steel and iron. These are all traditional industry in the country. They have been all being supported by the corporate, by the banks. And therefore now the groups have come. Ambani Group has come, Reliance Group has come, Tata Group has come, Adanis have come. All these groups have come because of the support from the bank. So everybody, as of today, bank has a huge exposure on these groups, and therefore tomorrow by chance if anything happens to this group, the economy of the country will be shaken up. So this is a risk factor where we, as a banker, we apply and take into account that what is to what extent we take exposure, what is the risk I'm taking on this group, whether it is right or wrong. Ultimately, I deal with the public money. Your deposit is public money for me. I have to protect the interest of the public. So the corporates are being supported and the corporates are also contributing for development of the economy. So it is hand to hand going together is one of the area where we have been witnessing, and we find that so large corporates are being supported by the banking sector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Ms. Sakshi. Now, my next youth guest is Mr. Shivam. Please ask the question and immediately put yourself on mute. I need not to put you on mute. Yes, Mr. Shivam Tal, please.
Okay, sir. I am Shivam Tal, currently pursuing MBA from KIT Group of Institutions, Ghaziabad. So my question is, how automation might impact the banking industry in the future as technology is upgrading day by day?
See, the technology, when the technology came into picture in the banking sector, it came in the 80s. The banking sector as a whole, we started computerization in the banking industry in 80s. And that too, at that time, the bank was not able to create their own. The bank has borrowed from the World Bank to address the need of the technology. And as of today, majority of the bank, I'm talking in terms of public sector bank, in terms of private sector bank, in terms of all small banks have come, everybody is now on technology. So the need of technology has been realized, and every bank has been, as of today, you tell me which is the area which is non-computerized. You must be dealing with your mobile banking, you are dealing with the ATM, all these are technology based. Your saving bank account is on a mobile, your saving bank is on your the system, your computer. So if you want to do a 24/7 banking, earlier we never heard of 24/7 banking. As of today, you can do the 24/7 banking. You can operate your own account, saving bank account or current account, or so all type of all the need of the technology in the banking sector has been addressed. The only question is some of the bank has to upgrade their technology. So which is also going on, because these are all ongoing processes. Once you have established certain things or put in certain things which needs to be upgraded. So as of today, majority of the bank, you take any bank, I'm talking in terms of maybe small level bank, land there are land development banks in the local area. There are some local area banks where they may not have computerized full operation, but majority of the operation has been mandated by the RBI to get it computerized. So once you are computerized, your majority of the now account related fraud you don't find today. That if the bank officer has made any mistake in debiting your account or crediting your account with the interest, or debiting the interest in your account, this type of things you will not find. Your ATM in many of the places, because the as of luckily we are luckily having the no problem, because we have faced all these problem when remote area, when the electricity was not there, how it was being addressed. The electricity, you even in the village level, when you go to the village level, you were not deprived of withdrawing the money unless there is a system failure. So the on account of electricity, as of today, there is no dearth of electricity available. I'm not talking about 100%, but largely 98 to 90%, and the bank has got a backup. There is a backup also, every bank has got. So in case of a failure of the the electricity from the public, it can be immediately switch on the battery operated devices, and other things are also available. So inverter is available every branch, including ATM side, small outlet of the bank is also available. So as of today, the technology, without technology, that the transaction which is happening as of today is not possible to do anything manually. So the bank has addressed those needs. Technology upgradation is taking place. particularly the new bank which are coming, are one of the condition is of the license is that you have to start with the technology. You have to start with, so it is no manual intervention, no manual operations are allowed in terms of any of the things. If you are aware of any such thing where manual is being, please let me know. I can take up the matter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you very much, Mr. Shivam. And now my next youth guest is Ms. Shraddha Mudgal.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Shraddha Mudgal. I am pursuing an MBA from Hindustan College of Management and Computer Science. My question is, what role AI plays in banking industry?
What?
AI, artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, yeah. See, this is also one of the requirement which has been addressed, identified by the RBI, and RBI has taken these steps, advised the bank, but it can't be in large number. You know, presently it is not the outside operation. Within the bank, this is being applied for the purpose of identification, for the purpose of keeping a track on the transactions. These are the things where it is being applied, and the majority of the bank is applying this, but it is taking little time because the public operations cannot be done like that, but internally bank is able to use this software, and on the basis of that they are able to analyze. As of today, the majority of the bank is addressing your need. They are able to identify your need on the basis of this software, that what is your need, how many transactions you have done, and what is the level of transaction you are doing, how the transaction is happening. This is because of the intelligence software which is coming into picture, and everybody is trying to work around so that the corporate needs and the banking, the risk can be minimized. On account of this, the risk of the bank which is there with the outsider, third party outsider, third world, how it can be addressed is because of this reason. So as of today, banking system as such is fully aware of, and this is being implemented in the many of the bank. You take the State Bank, you take the big bank, all big banks are already implemented. It is implemented for their internal purposes to analyze the the transactions, and because of this, as of today, you do any transaction, there is a every day there is an online transaction happening. Probably any of you must be aware of, when there is a krill, this is system called krill, which is a 24/7. So on the krill, RBI is able to access your account. There is another need which is coming up, which is being addressed in cyber security, which is called open banking. The intelligence software will be very useful when I am allowing open banking. There is a concept going on, and probably maybe next 6 months or 1 year down the line, you are going to have another guidelines. There is a open banking, so I can access your account. As of today, it is not permitted. Legally, it is not permitted that I can, if unless you give me the consent, I will not be able to access account. As of today, regulator has all powers to access your account. So my loan account, which is there, is being upgraded every day in the RBI, and the RBI as well as intelligence unit of economic offenses department, they are able to see the transaction, because there is a transaction observations. You can do the transaction. Beyond that, there are certain cutoff points, and those transactions get reflected every day, updated every day. It is a real-time basis. So your account is on real-time basis being upgraded, and because of this system, intelligence system is being looked into. So if you are doing certain transactions which are suspicious in nature, the agencies working on this, they will come to know that what is the transaction you are having. As if you don't have the transaction of that magnitude, all of a sudden there is a transaction happening, they will call for the data and they can stop your account. So as of today, the system has been introduced, but not for the public. Internally, it is being used as of today. just to keep a control on what number of frauds are taking place, number of other things are happening. So as of today, this is being implemented. I'm not saying that it is a fully integrated with all the transactions, but major transactions are being integrated and it is being seen online. So this is an issue which has been addressed and inviting the attention of the banks and regulator both. So you don't worry on account of that. We are very exposed to this. We have addressed all these issues, and probably anything which comes in technology side, we are one who has supplied technology to the whole world, and naturally we will also adopt those technologies.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Ms. Shraddha. Now my next youth guest is Mr. Suhail Sharif.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Suhail.
I'm Suhail Sharif. I'm pursuing BBA in Sheshadipuram Academy of Business Studies from Bangalore. So my question is, as per current situation, there are a lot of fraud activities happening in the online banking activity, even though. What is your opinion?
I fully agree. I think one of
already,
has also raised this issue, and I also explained what steps are being taken. The fraud is taking place because of people are not aware of people. When you are dealing with your money, are you not supposed to take certain minimum precaution which is required to be taken? So when you are doing an online transaction, maybe an internet transaction or maybe mobile transaction, are you not supposed to keep a control of your OTP? One of the area is that any transaction cannot happen of their own. It has to be done through you. So the once you OTP comes on your mobile and you are sharing the OTP with somebody else, or you are not able to do that, fraud will take place, because the fraudulent having different means. So there is a necessity for the public awareness, and therefore there is a Reserve Bank has created a separate department, in fact, within that, to create awareness among the public how to use, not to use the not to allow access to the friend and other family member who can misuse your account. So as of today, there is a need that every citizen, whosoever is having the banking account, having the banking transaction, they must also will have alertness. And any transaction which are coming, now you do the transaction or your saving bank account, you get alert immediately whether you have done the transaction or not. If you are not taking steps immediately, it is whose fault? You can't blame the bank for this purpose. You are to be blaming yourself.
Yes.
Having known that there is a transaction has happened, and whether you have allowed somebody to use your OTP, many things are there. So it is your awareness. It is your money, so you should be more careful.
So more public awareness, is required.
More public awareness is required, which is being done every day. If you see the TV, what is the other form? Bank is coming to you on your mobile. It is being done on your computer. It is being done on your email. It is being done. So whatever the social media channel is also available, that is being also addressed. So if you are little careful about your own money, probably this will not happen, because you can't depend upon fully that since I have given the money to the bank, it is a bank problem. So bank problem is there if it is a mistake on the part of the bank.
Okay.
But you are also equally to be blamed if you are committing some the mistake or blunder, whatever you call it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you, Mr. Sohail. My next youth guest is Miss Vaishnavi ML. Please ask fast. Time is short. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vaishnavi ML. I'm pursuing my BBA in Sheshadipuram Academics of Business Studies in Bangalore.
Little bit loud.
Please speak loudly.
How will the people react for change in banking sector? Customers and employees both.
It's a good question. It's a behavioral question. So there is a relationship when you open the account with me, with any bank, there is a relationship developed. The relationship my relationship with in 3 areas I can explain to you. When you open account, a saving bank account, how was our relationship? I am a holder of your money. So I becomes a debtor to you. I am a creditor to you. You are a debtor to me. Okay, so I have to pay back money because you have kept with me. Similarly, when I lend the money, borrower becomes my debtor, I becomes their creditor. So the situation is changed. Like you must be also having bank locker. How the bank locker is operated? It is a licensor and licensee relationship. So it is no more a customer relationship. It is a licensee and licensor relationship. So when I address these issues to maintain the as of today, the introduction because of the technology, introduction of technology, because of the adoption of technology by the bank, and also to a very large extent adoption by the customer also, the human behavior which was there earlier, when you go to the branch, you were meeting the people were knowing by your first name or second name. As of today, that is missing. That bound to have missing because you have introduced the technology. Because technology cannot change your behavior. I am not aware of your behavior when I meet you, when I am seeing you on the system. I can only see that what is your body language. But when I meet you personally, when you talk to me in person, I am able to observe your behavior. Similarly, many of the things which has been introduced the account. This is how where you operate the account in the banking system. Behavior in the accounting operation is also being manually observed. So the relationship in the banking system has come a long way. As of today also, majority of the people, I myself, earlier I used to go almost during the pandemic period, I used to go every month to my branch where my pension account is there, my other operating account is there. I used to go very regularly. As of today, I have not gone for 6 months. 6 managers have been changed. So the new manager who comes, he doesn't know me. So in one of the branch in Bangalore, I went there. So he said, I don't know you, sir. I have to introduce myself. That I am so and so. I work in the bank for this year and I was retired as chairman and all those things. So the relationship in the banking is still there, and therefore the people are contacting you. Communication through communication, not meeting personally. But this trust on the banking between the customer and the bank will continue to be there. On the day the trust is there is a trust deficit is observed, the bank, you will stop banking with that particular bank, you will go to some other banks. So the banking relationship in the banking will continue to be there, and therefore there is a focus of each bank. Whether it is a private, you will find private bank is more focused towards the customer and launching new product depending upon your requirement. And similarly, you as a customer is also demanding today, I want this facility, I want that facility, why can't be made available? So the customer, it is a relationship between the customer and the bank, where the financial sector is responding to the need of your present need in terms of internet banking, in terms of your mobile banking, in terms of ATM banking, in terms of many other facility which any ordinary citizen or maybe a big corporate customer needs is being addressed. So relationship is very important in the banking sector, because as a banker, I am a trustee of your money. You have a trust on me, and therefore my prime responsibility is to continue to build that trust and continue to maintain that trust. So this will, human behavior relationship will continue to be there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, as well as thank you, Mr. Vaishnavi. Now, my last panelist guest is Miss Yamini Prasanna Kumar.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yamini Prasanna Kumar. I'm in the second year and currently pursuing my BCom in Sheshajipuram Academy of Business Studies, Bangalore. So here's my first question to you, sir. What are the impacts of demonetization on Indian economy?
See, you have seen now it was demonetization has taken place in 2016, isn't it? And the purpose of at that time was that because the money which was in circulation, there were black money, there were fake money, the counterfeit money, all those things were there, and they were impacting the economy in a large, because when the transaction was not happening, of the transaction was happening, only cash transaction was happening, that was being used. Secondly, there was also a report which suggested that this money is being used, which is the unaccounted money is being used for the purpose of financing the terrorism, financing the Maoist. So anti-social activities were also being done. So the purpose of at that time was there that to curb this, it is better to change the note, which was done. New note came into picture, which was replaced with the old notes, and then the public were given time to exchange their notes. Probably everybody has passed through. It has helped to a very large extent in terms of corruption side, to curtail the corruption, and curtail also the terrorism financing. Terrorism was one of the area through various our neighboring country and other countries where this money was being used, and even fake money came into picture, which was also being used. So it has to a large extent it has helped the committee to contain those areas. You must see prior to 16 and today there is a lot of difference you will find. Your question, next question may be that as of today, what were the currency at that time available, and today we are more or less, this is a demand supply position. See, as of today, fake currency is, we don't hear now the fake currency is found somewhere. The elections side, a lot of fake currency were being used. The currency which was not in circulation was being used. Today we would find, and whenever it is found, immediate action is being taken. So as of today, and those were the used not for the economic development. Those currency at that point was not being used for the development of the country or development of the economy. It was, at that time it was for destructive purposes, not for the constructive purposes. As of today, the circulation of what was at that particular time, the money circulation was available. As of today is much more than. It is acknowledged. It is much more than, because it is required. We have not been able to contain, because the whole purpose was that the people will use less money. But today, if you go to the bhajiwala, if you go to vegetable vendor, you go to the fruit vendor, you go to the any roadside vendor, they are all using. Though it was expected that when the pay system is available, Paytm is available, all those online payment system is available, that could have been used, but the people have not been able to use, because majority of the low level people, the poor people, are not having that much education, and everybody do not have a smartphone who can use this facility, and therefore there is still, and it is easy to carry. See, the question is, as of today, there is still easy to carry the money in terms of the cash. So cash, if you want, therefore there is a curve on the carrying the cash. You can't carry and deposit the cash more than 2 lakhs rupees in any of the bank account. If you deposit, you are going to be questioned by the income tax authority, from where got, what is the source. So the people have different methodology to adopt. But let me tell you that demonetization has helped to a very large extent. Certain sector people have suffered, of course, but today that situation is not there. The circulation has come to the same level, or more or less same. So as of today, the need of the poor people, particularly during this pandemic time, the case has helped a lot. When you were not in a position, same time the online banking also help us. I'm not saying that there is, but there is a lot of restriction as of today. You can't give the money, you can't lend the money by cash. But total requirement, if you go to in the village level, there is a sahukar is still there. He still give the money at midnight. Bank may not be able to give the money at midnight, because ATM in every village we won't find. But ATM you will find in the some tehsil place where you can go and withdraw the money. May be working, may not be. But if you require money at midnight, the local fellow who will give the money without passing any voucher, he will not take any signature, but he has a trust. That is how the banking has started. So as of today, the demonetization has helped to a very large extent to curb the black money, to curb the terrorism, to curb the flight of the money from one country to another. All these things which were there prevalent at that time, today it is not there. So to a very large extent, it has helped to control, and that has ultimately helped the economy also.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep, and thank you very much, Ms. Yamini Prasanna Kumar. As now time is not there, we have only 2 minutes left. I'm sure that everyone got the answer, and because Mr. Pradeep has given detailed answer about the banking industry. But even if you have any clarification about your earlier question, if any, can raise hand. I will allow 1 or 2 person only, and very, very short answer for that. If you have anyone who wants to raise hand, just raise hand. I will take and allow. I think everyone has got the answers because Mr. Pradeep has given very, very clear and detailed answer. And our endeavor is to enlighten on a particular topic with this Gyan Ki Pathshala, and we want that our youth, and especially those who are in a like a MBA or other students, BBA or whatsoever they are doing, if they are interested, they can join us there through their institution, because we are taking the entries to the institutions only. And like next week, we are going to keep a program on the artificial intelligence only. Okay, so this is the thing. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Pradeep,
can I take 1 minute?
I am coming to you. So now I want Mr. Pradeep just to summarize today's conference in 1 minute's time, please.
The students, I'm really I was very happy and fortunate to have the interaction with you. And the banking industry as such is doing a fantastic job in terms of supporting the economy, supporting the country activities, supporting the infrastructure. So the bank as of today is in a position to undertake and to support all activities of the country. And for the youth or anybody whosoever is doing MBA, the banking sector is one which is open for good job in terms of in various fields, in terms of the investment, in terms of the credit. If you are marketing, there is a huge requirement of the banking side to absorb the people, young people. And this is the right time when you can, if you are able to join the bank, because there is a, in the banking system, there is a now, in the public sector, there is a entrance exam. In the private sector, there may not be. But in the public sector, there is an entrance exam, and you can dream of, I tell you, if you can dream of going up to a very high level. The people who was in the public sector has retired. They were all from the mid-class people like you and us. And we have that dream that we wanted to reach to the top level. We have reached to that level. So all of you are eligible, and all of you can dream of going to a banking sector, which is much more open, which is much more resilient in terms of absorptions, knowledge sharing. These things will help you a lot. And I extend warm welcome in the banking industry of any of you, if you are able to join us after completing your education, everything. So it is open to everyone, open area to join the bank. And as of today, let me assure you that our economy is in very sound footing. The country is under the present leadership. The country is doing a very fantastic job. I will be, and you will see the progress in the banking sector. Thank
you very much, Mr. Pradeep, for giving this information. And I will just add to you one thing, that those who are participating in our program, we are very soon starting one program where we will be giving live employment to those who are eligible, and especially we are starting from the banking sector only, because as Mr. Pradeep has mentioned, the private banks are open to appoint without any entrance exam. So we are contacting them, and very soon, it may take how many days or month, I can't say, but we are working, and we will be taking those who have already participated in our conferences. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Now se Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you every day new topic in Media Conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow our topic is employees as customers. Yes, you heard correctly, employees as customers. And our Panelists are Professor Mohanlal Agrawal, President Indo-Gulf Management Association, Dubai. Dr. C.B. Venkat Krishna Prasad, Professor in Management Studies, Dhyanand Sagar Institutions, Bangalore. Dr. Shalini Agrawal, Associate Professor, Chandigarh University, Mohali. Dr. Tusif Zia Siddiqui, PhD, Director, Susliens Research, Doha, Qatar. So they will be participating as a panelist. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, all the youth guests, and thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath Pradeep, for giving answers in such a details that I'm sure that today's our Gyan Ki Pathshala has given lots of knowledge, not only to those who have participated here, but those who are watching our show. So keep watching our Gyan Ki Pathshala on every Friday. So thank you very much, and thank you all the viewers for watching our show. And if you have any suggestion, you can very well send your comments to us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Goelji. Thank you. Thank you, Goelji.